One. Live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome to the virtual light broadcast at lightworker.com. Today is the 25th of May, 2013. This is segment 4. Please welcome Sandie Sedgbeer.
Welcome back to the virtual light broadcast. Back in January, we did a Skype interview. It was a very, very big story about a groundbreaking... Are we off again? Stay with us.
There you go.
Right, we'll start again. Back in January, we broadcast a Skype interview about a groundbreaking discovery that could forever alter the way we view the history of civilization and the purpose and age of pyramids. And that was a big, big story, and big stories deserve to have a lot of attention put upon them. So we're thrilled today to have with us in person for 2 whole segments the subject of that interview. Please welcome anthropology professor and discoverer of the Bosnian Pyramids, Dr. Semir Osmanagich. Dr. Sam, this is the 3rd time that you and I have spoken in an interview, and we've never had enough time to tell the full story here, so I hope that we can get through a lot today.
It takes about 7 hours.
You have studied pyramids for many, many years, long before you discovered the Bosnian pyramids. So tell us about how you made that discovery.
Well, I've been prepared, like every one of us. We have a mission in our life. For about 25 years, I've been researching ancient civilizations and the pyramids all over the planet. And I have concluded that almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong. The origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids. For pyramids, they claim that they were built in Egypt and Mexico. Wrong. They are built on all 6 continents, 250 of them in China, pyramids in Indonesia, Cambodia, 300 in Peru, Bolivia, Australia near Brisbane, 155 in Egypt, 224 in Sudan, pyramids on Canary Islands in the Atlantic Ocean, on the island of Mauritius in the middle of Indian Ocean, 100,000 of them in Central America. The Mayan built them, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Belize, and finally, here in the U.S., Cahokia Pyramids in southwestern part of the state of Illinois. And finally, of course, the Bosnian Pyramids. So they've been teaching us they're built only on 2 particular places, but that's wrong. And of course, the biggest hoax of all, that the pyramids were built as tombs for pharaohs. Not a single mummy have been discovered in the biggest, most superior pyramids in Egypt. So 200 years after Egyptology has been around, we are still back to the square one. We don't know who, when, how, and why.
And right on your home ground. You were born in Bosnia.
In the case of the Bosnian pyramids, I've realized that the pyramids have nothing to do with the pharaohs, with tombs, with hundreds of thousands of slaves. The pyramids are structures. They are geometry. And as we will see in this video clip, which showed the Bosnian pyramid of the sun from the air, it is very clear. So I suggest we go with the video clip and the Sun Pyramid. The red roofs are of the town of Visoko, which is about 20 miles northwest from the capital city of Sarajevo. 2 major rivers, River Fonica and River Bosna, and the Pyramid of the Sun towering the town of Visoko. The geometry is there, triangular faces. We can clearly see the corners and the same slope from the bottom to the top. Now, what is visible from that imaginary line from left to right, from the bottom to the top, 700 feet. The Great Pyramid of Egypt, 480. So now we are talking the biggest, the largest pyramidal structure on the planet. 2005, when I first came to the town of Visoko, and it wasn't about the pyramids. I came to visit the local museum. When I saw this hill towering the town, when I saw the perfect geometry, I took compass, and compass showed me that those triangular faces match the cardinal points, east, west, north, south. The Mother Nature simply does not make hills with 4 sides, triangular sides, perfect orientation. That's done by the intelligent hands. And now, if you agree, we can go to little PowerPoint presentation, which will show us a few elements of the structures there.
Yes, because you started excavating this
Yes.
piece of land.
Now, here's the Sun Pyramid. The side that we see from here is the northern side of the Sun Pyramid. So far, we thought that the best orientation is the north side of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. The error from the perfect north in Egypt is 0 degrees and 2 minutes. And according to the Bosnian State Institute for Geodesy, the error of this northern side to the perfect cosmic north is 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and 12 seconds. So this is the most precise orientation ever on the planet. The second slide will show the construction material. When you remove approximately 3 feet of soil, we are finding blocks, rectangular in shape. We've sent samples to 6 different institutes for materials in France, Italy, Bosnia. They all confirm the same thing. This is artificial concrete. So they found what Dr. Joseph Davidovich of France called geopolymer cement, artificially made binder. So somebody was making a huge concrete blocks, 18 million tons of them, covering the largest pyramid on the planet.
Have you dated them?
Concrete blocks? No. However, when we remove the layer of soil, 3.5 feet below, we are finding organic material. For example, in summer of 2012, we found a fossilized leaf on the top of the concrete blocks. We sent the samples to the labs in Kiev, Ukraine, and Gliwice, Poland. The results, 24,800 years plus minus 200 years, meaning that this leaf has been there for 25,000 years, sitting on the structure. So the structure itself is even older. They've been teaching us that the humanity is about 8,000 years old. The advanced civilization, that everything started with Sumer, Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, ancient Egypt, ancient India. Wrong. That's just the last civilizational cycle. Before this one, there was another one, which ended in a global catastrophe 12,500 years ago. Before that one was another one, ended 18,000 years ago. And another one, 55,000 years ago. And another one, 75,000 years ago. It's a cycle after cycle after cycle. On the next slide, what we can see is that this project has become the most active archaeological site in the world. Archaeology, history, they are very conservative sciences. If you want to work on Egyptian, Mexican, Chinese pyramids, you have to be politically correct. Nothing like that applies here in Bosnia. We are open for everyone. Yes. The knowledge is not only for the elite. The cultural heritage belongs to all of us. So we have invited volunteers from all over the planet to come and join us and help us. And this is the first case that the huge archaeological project is not run by departments of archaeology from universities, by National Museum, by Ministries of Cultures, by people who are paid to do their job, but by the non-profit foundation, which I established in 2005, and I named it Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation, by enthusiasts, by people who love the pyramids, who love the research, who love its own country. And we opened the project for everyone. And the common people, they don't have to be professionals, have a chance to be an active part in history-changing process.
Well, it's a smart process because you've had a lot of opposition from the established community. By opening it up to everybody, you're making sure that this cannot be covered up.
Mainstream scientists don't like this project for many reasons. This is one of them, because the project is open for everyone. No secrets, no elite science. Secondly, this project changes the history books. What they've been telling us is wrong.
Yes.
PhDs are not good, professorships also. The way professors teach our kids is wrong. So what do? We change all that from Sarajevo to Zagreb to Paris to London to Boston to New York. Or we try to stop this little foundation and this little guy. That's what they've been trying to do from the very beginning. But, you know, when 99% of people would give up, in a situation when the Ministry of Culture is against you, when the state commissions for national monuments are against you, when the European Archaeological Association is against you, when 100 American professors, geologists, archaeologists against you, Dr. Zahi Hawass from Egypt against you, you don't really give up because you know that you have noble goal in front of you, that you search the scientific truth. You don't give up on your dreams.
Tell us a little bit about what you've discovered there, because you've excavated quite deeply now and
Yes.
you've found labyrinths and underground tunnels.
Yes. On the next slide, we can see the scene from the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon. A little bit different than the Sun. The Sun Pyramid, we have concrete blocks covering the pyramid. Here, we have beautifully shaped terraces from sandstone blocks. And if we move forward in this presentation, we will see the scene from the underground. I know from my personal experience that main Egyptian pyramids, Giza pyramids, Saqqara pyramids, step pyramids in Saqqara, Shanxi pyramids in China, Teotihuacan pyramids in Peru, Mayan pyramids in Palenque and other places, they always had the tunnels below the pyramids. But what we have in Bosnia is the most extensive underground tunnel network. We have tens of miles of tunnels. Who was able in the ancient past to make such an extensive network, to remove hundreds of thousands of tons of materials? And even today, after so many earthquakes, those tunnels have not collapsed. What we discovered was electromagnetic fields, ultrasound fields in the tunnels, and when we think about the earthquakes, they are nothing but mechanical vibration, and there is a way to neutralize that. The builders of those tunnels found a way to neutralize earthquakes. So this is like the earthquake-proof underground complex. It's miracle after miracle. And if we move forward, we can see a huge blocks. They are in a range from 700-800 pounds to 5,000 pounds to 10,000 pounds, and this particular one, which we call the megalith K2, is 18,000 pounds. The deeper we go in the tunnels, the megaliths are getting bigger and bigger. We've analyzed this one. We know that 70 feet below this megalithic block is underground water flow. Water moves, releases the energy. We've analyzed the material here in the Institute for Atomic Physics in Zagreb, Croatia. They told us it was artificially made ceramic. Then we've analyzed what was inside by a georadar instrument, and they told us there were some oval objects. Not water, not hollow place, not ceramic, not metal, but mineral, most probably quartz crystal. So what we have, this energy from the underground water activates the quartz crystal. It is surrounded by ceramic. Ceramic vibrates and generates electromagnetic field. What we can detect and measure is the electromagnetic field of 28 kilohertz frequency. That's not the frequency that comes randomly in Mother Nature. That's not the frequency that we use in our daily life, our civilization. What we have, for example, in our studio is 60 hertz. Our cell phones, they are megahertz. So 28 kilohertz frequency is very interesting. When this electromagnetic field hits quartz crystal in the walls, then there is a process called piezoelectrical effect. The engineers know that this piezoelectrical effect generates ultrasound. Ultrasound we cannot hear, but we can measure. And over there, we measured 28 kilohertz frequency ultrasound. Why is this frequency important? Ralph Rink, the American innovator in 1950s, was playing with different frequencies of ultrasound. And he realized that at 28 kilohertz, when he placed the table tennis ball on the top of the source of the ultrasound, the ball started levitating. And I have heard so many testimonies from people who were in those underground tunnels and on the top of the Sun Pyramid, where we also measured the same frequency ultrasound, that they feel so light. Probably some of their bodies, maybe astral bodies, were released. So the ancients knew how to get very beneficial frequencies for our bodies.
You've also measured, you've got negative ions in these tunnels and chambers.
Exactly. Every year we clean about 600 feet of those underground existing prehistorical tunnels. We've noticed that we had at least two civilizations, the one that built this huge network, and the second one who for some reason closed, filled those tunnels in with the material. So what we actually do, we remove that fill-in material. And deeper we go, we've noticed that people feel better and better. So in the last couple of years, we noticed that people who had asthma problems, allergies, those problems were gone after only one visit to the tunnels, after staying about 1.5 hours. So we were looking for the scientific explanation. And yes, we did measure several times the concentration of negative ions. As we know, the negative ions clean our blood from viruses and bacteria. In the air, they connect with the pollen and the dust. It goes down, so they clear the air. In this studio tonight, it's probably about 200 negative ions per cubic centimeter. If you go out, about 400. If you go to the village, 800. If you go by the river, 1,500. If you go on the top of the mountain in the forest, 5,000. When we measure the concentration in an underground labyrinth, the concentration was 18,000 in some of the chambers. So it was 4 times higher, 4 times healthier. It seems that somebody was building underground healing facility.
And you speculated that it's also used for rejuvenation. No wonder you get lots of volunteers going there.
It's not only the negative ions, you're right. When we live on the surface, we are exposed to the cosmic radiation. Some of them, they just go through our body, through our planet with no harm. Some of them are very harmful for our bodies. And our body cells fight those cosmic radiations. Then, underground, we have natural radioactivity. We don't feel it, but our body cells, they have the enemies there. Then, underground water flows. If we sleep, if our bed is above the underground water, we're going to get sick in 5, 10, 15 years. So there, of course, the Hartmann grids, they run east, west, north, south, and the intersections of those Hartmann grids also very bad for us. In ancient Sumer, when they were building temples, they would place the stone columns exactly at the intersection of those Hartmann grids. So we lost that knowledge, but the ancients knew that there were a lot of negative radiations for our bodies. What happened in the tunnels? We measured there are no cosmic radiations. We measured for natural radioactivity 10 times lower than the minimum allowed. And when it comes to the underground water flows, the builders of the tunnels strategically positioned those big ceramic blocks, neutralizing negative energy, transforming it to positive. So the moment you enter the underground labyrinth, your body cells don't have the enemies anymore. So what do? What is their job? They start regeneration process. So I usually tell people who enter the tunnels, if you come back 10 years younger, don't be surprised.
I'm coming.
People also usually ask me, okay, how long does it last? And we've done some measurements, especially with the people with the asthma problems. When they would get out, they wouldn't need those pumps anymore or pills and so on. Usually it lasts 2 to 3 months, meaning you would need to come to Bosnia at least 4 times a year. So This is what I call tourism.
And yet still the government don't welcome you and your project. And you're bringing all these tourists there.
This particular central town of Visoko, which is very beautiful, and Bosnia is really beautiful during the summer, has never had a touristic tradition. So all of a sudden, in the last 7-8 years, tens of thousands of tourists from all over the planet. You know, in the 1990s, during the war in Bosnia, this country was known for the war and the violence and negative news. But we want to change that. With this project, we want people to know Bosnia as a country of archaeology, cultural heritage, volunteers, tourism, all the positive news. And we even named one of the pyramids the Pyramid of Love. One of the things archaeologists don't like about me is, why did I name the pyramids those names? The sun and the moon and the dragon and the Mother Earth and love. When it comes to love, they don't realize that words are very powerful. And the most powerful one is the word love. Thousands of years back, when you would name your kid, that name would predestine his or her life. And when you name one huge pyramid, a love pyramid, the idea is to color the valley of the pyramids in Bosnia with the love, with the positive emotions. And this is the type of the messages we want to send to the outside world.
Now, I know that in the second segment we're going to talk more about the ultrasound, and you've got some recordings to play for us that you haven't released before,
That's
I understand.
True.
But first, I'd like to ask you about the one megalithic block had a number of symbols on them. In fact, many of them had symbols, but you actually had somebody who was able to interpret what those symbols said. Can you tell us what that was?
We are really at the beginning of the project. We have cleaned so far about 3,000 feet of the underground tunnels. And that's probably just 2 or 3% of the whole network. But yes, we do find megalithic blocks with some carvings. On one of them, the carvings were so similar to the runic symbols, the runes, which is the oldest alphabet in Europe, that 7 symbols perfectly match runes. And one of the deciphering, which came, by the way, from the US, was the message that goes like this. The gate is closed. We will have to stay, to fight, to conquer, until we are able to open the Stargate again. So, obviously, it's telling us that we deal with very advanced civilization. And if you allow me, another slide on our little presentation shows that around these blocks, the energy that's coming from these blocks can be felt by kids and by those who are not even kids anymore. And the last slide in this little presentation shows the Sun Pyramid in Bosnia with this energy beam. We did mention the energy beam back in January. Namely, after 5-6 years of proving that we have construction complex, and indeed you have the shape of the pyramid, artificial blocks, inner passageways, perfect orientation, underground tunnels, somebody built a huge construction complex. We wanted to find out what was the purpose of this complex. Archaeologists, geologists, historians cannot help us. Nobody teaches them about the real purpose of pyramids. So we needed support from the experts in energy phenomena, physicists, electrical engineers. They came with their equipment. The first team came from Croatia, Dr. Mizrak, the physicist, and we were going on the nearby hills, no electromagnetic anomalies. We were going around the Sun Pyramid, no anomalies, until we came to the very top. And there, in a radius of 13 feet, we detected electromagnetic field of 28 kilohertz frequency. We got out of this radius, no detection. We came back, detection was there. What did that mean? It meant that the field does not go left or right, it goes up as electromagnetic beam. So, we had another team from Italy, from Finland, from Serbia, who confirmed the same results independently with their equipment. It meant that it is what we call in science international independent verification of the phenomenon. So we have this energy beam going through the top of the Sun Pyramid, and it's been like that for over 25,000 years, making the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun the first and the oldest perpetual mobile. It is a huge, not only the biggest pyramid on the planet, but the biggest energy machine on the planet.
What do you think the purpose of that beam is?
We know and we measure that the beam goes up, but we suspect that also there is an energy beam coming down through the pyramid, because if you have machine does not only emit the energy, but it receives the energy. When we measured the beam on the surface, 10 feet higher, another 10 feet higher, the strength of the signal is getting stronger and stronger. And now the physicists could not believe their eyes. You know, our technology, which we can call Hertzian technology, is telling us closer to the source, the stronger the signal. You move away, the signal is getting weaker. But since in Bosnia everything is upside down, our pyramids work differently. You move away, the signal is getting stronger. So if we can call our technology Hertzian technology, this is non-Hertzian phenomenon. And when we continue, we'll explain what does it mean for the future of humanity.
Okay, we'll hold it right there. We'll be back in a few moments and learn more about the purpose of the Bosnian pyramids. Stay tuned.